So I'm working on another one about my fish, and it's this one, it's the view from in the fish tank, and so I put masking fluid here, and that worked out really well, and I'll just paint those green eventually, but I have the masking fluid still on that part because I'm going to put a picture in there of some kind. I'm not sure what yet, and we'll see how that goes. The ear worked out a lot better this time, but some things did not. Anyway, that's James's dinner for today, and he has his choice of sauces, dips, whatever, and late night got top of the stack.
Fan to swell, right?
Then Snow Angel, then Moonhaven, and those, honestly, the only one worth watching is the top of the stack one. The others are terrible. So I'll talk about them a bit.
I know that Mindy Kaling. She was in the office, right?
She was.
Yeah, she was very good.
Wasn't she one of the writers or something?
Yeah, maybe something like that. Anyway, minor character. Pretty well everyone in that show did the job.
Yep.
With some interesting characters. Creed was geez.
How did that happen? I didn't move it. Anyway, yeah, late night. That's it. There was a lot of good comedy in here. I liked it a lot.
That's Emma Thompson in the film?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She did a great job. Everyone did a great job in it. So, if you want a few good laughs,
There we go.
there you go.
A good laugh is hard to find.
Yep.
Maybe even harder than a
This
good
one
man.
seems like it must have been from Quebec, but I don't know for sure.
Subtitles?
I mean, it's set in Quebec,
Yeah.
and so you get to see a little bit of a nice scenery. It says it's in a mountain village in Haute-Gaspésie, Quebec.
So that's Upper Gaspésie. So it is. I was just going to say they don't really have mountains there in Quebec, but they kind of do in to the end of the Appalachian Mountains. I always said Appalachian, but Appalachian. So
Some good scenery in pictures, and I've always wanted to go there.
Well, you know, that's one of the places we're thinking of moving.
Hmm.
I don't know if you're still thinking of moving there, but yeah, beautiful scenery.
Yeah, very nice.
There'd be a lot of snow there, unfortunately, but I'm sure in the summertime it's absolutely wonderful.
Well, anyway, I guess the mystery of the
whatever.
story right away. It did not take long at all. It was
Well, isn't that usually what happens with you? Like you guess the stuff. I'm lousy.
but
at
it's
guessing
always
stuff.
disappointing when I do.
Okay.
So,
You should be, though, the opposite of disappointed with yourself, though.
no, the first time the guy said, "Have you been to the scene of the accident?"
Right.
Or whatever. And I realized,
The scene of the accident is
Anyway.
important.
yeah,
Yep.
So-
Spoiler alert, folks.
it didn't work for me because of that. But everyone did a good job in it, besides the fact that there's really no mystery there. It's,
Interesting cover art, though,
yeah,
don't you think?
yeah. And, you know, the acting was good and everything like that, right? So,
Okay, well, that's
anyway, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Subtitles?
Well, there's some.
Some, but not much. Okay. There
Well,
you go. You can
it
follow.
depends who's talking, or whatever. It's
Okay,
it's
yeah.
like, it seems realistically Canadian French, right? Or at least
There we go. Yeah, it's
what I
very
know
different
of,
from Parisian
like,
French. Yeah, yeah.
my going for holiday meals or whatever, meeting up with the family,
with
and
your relatives.
there'd be with the French side of the family.
Yeah.
Half of the discussion would be in English and half in French. You know, right in the same sentences. And
Yeah, it's
whatever,
very
right?
impressive.
Yeah.
The French people in Canada are what people should strive to be, like bilingual, trilingual, whatever. And the English have done a poor job of getting hold of French. It's
Yeah.
that way.
Anyway, this is terrible. Moonhaven. It's a sci-fi story, and it's a TV show. So this is 2 DVDs in here, and unfortunately full of episodes. And yeah, it's a story about apparently the smartest people were sent up to the moon to start a new civilization there, and then come back to, you know, fix Earth with what they learned or whatever. And it's like, one thing, the smartest people in the world, it seems many of them, or most of them, were had darker skin, but some of them did appear to be, or a lot of them appeared to be mixed race, which I was impressed with. So, but
So white folks are dumb, eh?
I don't know. Anyway, another thing about it, they're talking about, like, in the moon they've decided nobody raises their own children. They all raise somebody else's children, because that way all the children are everyone's children, and they avoid clannish behavior and stuff like that, right?
Interesting.
But
the Spartans raised their kids that way, and it was brutal and stupid.
Exactly. When you don't raise your own children, then it's not that the children are everyone's children. The children are nobody's children.
They're no one's children.
And so the children are raised to be aggressive. They end up aggressive. So this is an aggressive propagandist idea of utopia, which is ridiculous, unless you want everyone to be aggressive. I mean, if you think about it, we have examples of passive people who have been raising their children in isolation, really, almost. Like, if you think about it, the Hutterites. Less so Mennonites, I mean, mix right in. But Hutterites, they don't really mix in with our society. They're around. We see them a lot around here, but they have their farms and they stay there and they keep up their traditional values and their traditional culture, and it doesn't change.
Traditional
really.
language.
I mean, you see a lot of the kids in town with cell phones and stuff now, and I guess they drive vehicles and whatever now, and
I'm not sure if they're supposed to have those cell phones.
Oh, they probably are. They probably just decided that's like driving cars.
I think it's just for internal use. They'd be bought by the colony.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They could only phone each other.
Yeah, I bet that's the case. But in any case, what I am saying is, you don't have problems with the Hutterites all of a sudden deciding to go to war with Canada and taking over or whatever. You don't have problems with that because they are passive people. They have a passive religion. Whether or not they are actually passive personality types, which I think most of them probably would be, but they wouldn't necessarily be. But their religion is passive and their culture is passive, and so they ended up, we don't really, I certainly don't have any worries about them coming into town with machine guns and mowing us all down and taking over or anything,
Yeah,
so,
you had your wallet.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
And it's funny how your stereotype
Yeah, well,
make it
teenage
so you
girls
don't,
will be teenage girls. Exactly. And
but you were looking around. You felt
I felt it, and I looked back, and she was there, right? And she was like, because she knew she was caught. But I didn't know she was caught because I see a Hutterite girl, and I'm like, oh, well, I must be, worried about nothing or whatever, right? I'm not worried about a Hutterite girl behind me. And then all of a sudden I went to pay, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what I felt, was her taking my wallet out of my pocket.
So she would have stashed the money away. I don't know how much money was there.
Oh, I had enough to pay my mom rent. I was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
So I had
she would have
quite a bit at
stashed
that
that
time.
away somewhere, and then whenever they came into town, she'd buy romance
Yeah.
novels or whatever.
Whatever she wants to buy, that
Mhm.
she wouldn't be allowed to buy. She wouldn't be allowed to have money to buy that.
Maybe a few
But-
frilly under things for
Who knows?
to entertain her boyfriend.
Sure. But in any case, yeah, this show's stupid. It's stupid. Even if you can get past all the stupid, aggressive propaganda shit. Oh, I accidentally said that on there. Okay. Anyway, stuff. Then you still have problems with their. Somehow they've been up there for 3 generations, and somehow they've built a whole, like, they have big trees and waterfalls and all sorts
3
of things
generations.
in 3 generations on the moon.
Oh my God!
So
So,
you
they
have
got
that.
an atmosphere.
Yeah, and then you have the problem with they have their own new. It's not a new language exactly, but they certainly speak very differently than people on Earth do. That in 3 generations, the people on Earth are speaking the same as.
Well, 3 generations is
But-
like 90 years.
Yeah.
So 90 years. I basically speak the way my dad spoke and my granddad spoke.
Yeah.
There'd be some changes.
Yeah.
Geez.
So anyway, and they're so superior on the moon, but they have really stupid clothes and all sorts of stupid things. So anyway.
You mean like hip hop clothes are supposed to be superior?
No, like that outfit.
Looks kind of religious. The
Almost
middle one
does.
looks kind of
But
military.
they believe that, you know, you have to have this culture to, the culture with the, is going to be the salvation of, like, it has to be intermeshed with their technology or,
Stupid.
yeah, and it's, anyway, whatever.
Like
It's really
the only
really
culture that really helps people go
This
is
is-
democracy.
dumb. Yeah, this is unwatchable as far as I'm concerned.
Oh.
Moonhape, it's so bad. But I had a lot of art that I was working on, so whatever. And yeah. And less art while I was watching Snow Angel. I actually watched quite a bit of that one. And instead, and I should have been doing more art, but I did quite a bit while I was watching. Enough that my back
This
is
one's
killing me. Oh, you like
coming
this
off.
one?
I like it. It's
Okay.
hard to tell. It looks as though they're swimming in air, but what the heck? It's
Yeah.
a great little thing. They've really got personality.
Yeah.
This is the one that's looking right at the
Yeah.
viewer. I love it.
Yeah, I know. I loved him too.
Mhm.
He always looked like he was smiling. Just- he was great.
Yeah. Oh, you did a really
I couldn't
good job.
find I couldn't find a picture of one that looked like he was smiling all the time. I was looking on the internet to try to
Well,
find
you got the
pictures to
smile
get
there.
one
It looks like
right.
a smile to me. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he always looked like he was smiling. He was always having a great. He looked like he was dancing and smiling, right? Just
Yeah.
shaking it. Awesome.
Yeah. What did you call him?
Well,
Hoppity?
no, this one's Polypterus palmus. So
Yeah, I told you call him.
yeah, I didn't have names for them, but I just love them, right? Hoppy cat. But I mean that's just short for Hoplosternum thoracettum. Anyway, I handed my entry for the coloring
No,
contest
did you
in
hope
today.
so? It's probably a draw thing, like you were saying.
It probably is.
If
But
it isn't,
in any case,
it would be the relatives.
I kept the original,
Friends, really.
and I said if you want to see the original, then I can bring it in. Just let me know. And so I'll go back and check my email tomorrow and see if they said, oh, we'll have to see the original. Because I just handed in a copy. Took a picture and printed it out on one of their
Yep.
computers. Anyway, so that's all I had to talk about.
So I guess it's up to me.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to. If you don't want to, I can just stop
I don't know if I have much to talk about. I got a lot to complain about. So does everyone, but a lot of people are just stumbling around.
Yeah.
Realize what's happening. But let me just talk about gas prices.
Okay, you talk about that.
So, what's called in the sports world the long foreheads. We're saying, you watch this winter, gas prices will soar. You've been keeping track? Almost everyone would be. Way down. Now, I suspect what's happened. I've been following the news. I've just been following the gas prices. Mostly sports channel. And the occasional gospel/country channel. It's really crazy on the radio. And when I'm saying gospel, I'm talking about preaching the gospel. And for the longest time, I was saying to anyone who listened, which might be 2 or 3 of you out there, but I was addressing Joe Biden and the people who are influencers with him, trying to influence the influencers, saying, and this was right after Putin stomped into the Ukraine. Well, more of the Ukraine than he. Imperialized in 2014. And I was saying, you better suck up to the Saudis and use the strategy that was used by the Americans and the Saudis to bring the Soviet Union to its knees. Basically to destroy it. It's one of the most positive things to happen in the history of the world, the destruction of the Soviet Union in 1991. Putin's trying to revive it. But I guess what's happened, I heard that the Saudis and the Americans worked out some sort of deal. And the Saudis were actually, in summer or thereabouts, were talking about hanging with OPEC and raising oil prices. So this deal, if Biden had anything to do with it, Biden, you're a better politician than I thought you were. And way better than the left wing of your party. The broken left wing of your party. It's really outside the party. Bernie Sanders is independent.
All right, are you done?
I'm just saying, more of the same. Now, don't expect the Soviet Union Mark 2.0 to wither and blow away the way it did under Gorbachev. Putin's the kind of guy who will kill to stay in power. Gorbachev survived his demise. And so he'll be like, I'm afraid, he'll hang on to power by the skin of everyone else's teeth and not just his own. And it could be really ruinous for Russia. The Russians have an amazing capacity for suffering visited on them by their leaders. Amazing number of deaths in World War I. Then they finally had a revolution, and they let the commies take power, take control of the revolution, and the death and destruction caused by Stalin was staggering, even before World War II. And then World War II, he was so incompetent, saved by the Brits initially, and then saved by the Americans. And there were all sorts of lefties going, see, communism worked, socialism worked. He was using slave labor to dig canals, and it was slave to death labor. I mean, real slavers kind of value their slaves. They don't work them to death. What an idiot. But at any rate, yeah, and now more suffering, more suffering. I don't know how many Russian young men are dying over in the Ukraine. And they're putting up with it. Any smart country would have got rid of Putin. And unfortunately, Putin's going to hang on by the skin of his teeth and their teeth. They're going to have to sideline him. You know, the Brits were able to get rid of Napoleon. At first they sent him to Elba and he escaped. Putin's going to be the same way. You put him in prison, he's going to escape. So they sent him to St. Helena, I think it's called, an island in the southern part of the Atlantic. And he died of something there. They figure was it maybe cancer or something like that. Some people figure he was poisoned. And you Russians, when you get rid of Putin, you might have to consider the death penalty. But not that I'm encouraging that. I'm just telling you, you'd better make sure you get rid of him. And he doesn't come back to haunt you the way Napoleon I did. All right.